Hey everybody, welcome in. This is the Sophisticated Sasquatch. This is going to be a little bit of a different video, more about my background and some advocacy that I see as lacking right now. So most of my ideas, including trying to start this YouTube channel, the gaming channel, the Rumble channel, the affiliate marketing, the website, writing, all of these things stemmed from trying to find ways to be financially independent after I lost my financial independence due to Lyme disease. So I don't see many men talking about their battles with Lyme disease, at least not since Patrick Plum got better. I know his channel, or it was, I'll check and make sure it's still up on YouTube, where he talked about his struggles and his battle, his treatments. But as far as I know, he's much better now and he's able to be out and living life again, which is great. But I haven't been able to find many other men willing to talk about their experiences. And while I do believe that us men are the rocks, that we're supposed to be the leaders, the protectors, the providers, to suck it up and keep on going for others. That's our role, to be leaders and servants, is my opinion. But I also feel like we need to give each other support and let each other know that we're not alone. And even God said at creation that it was not good for man to be alone. And I think that through the Bible and as Catholic teaching, we are not meant to be individuals. We are meant to be part of a community. So, we're here, we should be here for each other. And if we can't let ourselves vent or show our struggles to other, to women, to young men, to boys, to children, that we need to at least be able to support each other and show share that we aren't alone, that there's more of us that are in this together, and maybe our experiences can help each other. Mine's limited, and because Lyme is so diverse, being called the great imitator for all the things that it can present as, my experience is going to be different than everybody else's, most likely. And I'm single. I guess on the one hand it can be a lonely existence, and on the other hand I'm thankful that I wasn't responsible for a family when I got this. I can't imagine how difficult that would be, to try and raise kids, to feel that you're the provider and not able to do so. So I can only give my perspective in the hopes that it helps some people, and hopefully it'll inspire other people to come out and talk about it as well. So I kind of wanted to give some of my background, and up to a certain point, I don't want the video to be super long, so I'll break it up and talk about different things in different videos. So made some notes, so if I'm looking down, I'm just checking my notes to make sure that I get everything. So I had a pretty normal childhood. I'm very blessed to have a good family and good parents, and we didn't have much, but we had what we needed, and we had a heck of a lot of fun along the way. A lot of cool experiences. I was pretty healthy. I had some migraine headaches that would pop up every once in a while for seemingly no reason, and we have no idea if that was related to Lyme disease back then or if that was just something else. We lived in the country from the time I was 8 until I was 17, I think, 16, 17. Had to be 17, yeah. So for 9 years, ticks were a way of life. We lived in Wisconsin. There were ticks everywhere, and we were constantly pulling them off. And I'd heard of Lyme disease, and in my understanding, it was fatigue and arthritis. That was what Lyme disease was, and I only knew like one person who'd ever had it before. So we didn't worry too much about it. If we found a tick, we pulled it off. So I got bit a million times by regular dog ticks, and I remember a couple of deer ticks as well, but never had a rash, never had a problem. And I was pretty healthy all the way up through high school. And then we get to I went to a technical college for trade. Went for residential building, fancy way of saying, learning how to build houses, using the newest techniques and the newest, most efficient. There was a big push at the time for energy efficiency and cutting down on energy bills. So learned a lot of cool stuff there, but that's where my journey started as well. One day I was working with another kid. We were part of our day, the first half of the day at the tech school was all bookwork. So it was math and basic grammar, just some basic subjects, an introduction into economics, that kind of thing. And then, and safety, of course. So then the second half of the day, we were actually building a house. So it was really cool. We'd study all morning about how to do it, and then we get to go do it. I was not very familiar with power tools of any kind or building of any kind, despite living in the country. So it was all kind of a shock to the system. And one day me and another kid were building walls, and I misfired with a nail gun and put a nail through my finger. And at the time, humble brag, all I said was, ow. I shook it off, and they were all like, oh, what if it's broken? It's like, it's not broken, it's fine. There's a little bit of blood coming out of it, we're fine. Let's keep going. So we wrapped it up in a dirty rag, and I worked the last 4 or 5 hours of the day. Then it really started hurting on the way home. So I got home and told my mom, and we went into the emergency room, and they took x-rays and were like, yep, you split the bone into a V. So we need to give you a tetanus shot. So I took the tetanus shot. It was about 6 weeks later. I came down with the worst flu that I think I'd ever had in my life. Chills, fever, nausea. I don't remember throwing up, but just constant nausea. And it was brutal. I missed a whole week of school, and I never missed a day of school, never missed a day of work before that. I have an extremely high pain and discomfort tolerance, so, excuse me, that's kind of where my background was. And so the fact that I missed a week had a lot of people kind of nervous about what was going on. But things weren't getting better, and I knew I couldn't miss another week of school, so back I went. The fever and chills were gone, the fatigue was still there, and the nausea was constant. So, I had my eyes out for garbage cans from the time I walked into the school all through the day. It was pretty brutal. To feel like you're about to throw up 24/7 is not fun. And in a group of alpha males, you don't show weakness. So easy pickings if you do. But no, most of the guys were, they had no clue what I was going through. But they were nice enough to understand when I wasn't, when I wasn't feeling good. So broken finger and all, nausea and all, I was back at school. So when the nausea wouldn't go away, so yeah, that happened right after Thanksgiving. So I shot myself with the nail gun in October, and then 6 weeks later, the week after Thanksgiving, is when I got the flu-like thing. So we were going to the doctor again, and I think it was around Christmas time. And they ran a battery of tests on me, including the regular Lyme test that they use, and came back negative, of course. And because I didn't have a bullseye rash, it never occurred to them that it could be anything else, or that it could be that it could be Lyme. It was obviously negative, so I couldn't have it. So they sent me for all sorts of tests. I went through, I believe it was a HIDA scan, to check the speed that your stomach empties after eating, and I was a little bit slow on that. So they labeled me with Idiopathic Gastroparesis, which is basically just that your stomach empties slowly. They gave me some, I forget what medication it was, but they wanted me to take it, and they thought it would help. But I read the side effects. I was like, I don't think so. That's not happening. So I sucked it up and kept on going. They checked my gallbladder. They checked, which was working at slightly under, subpar. They checked for kidney stones. Those were fine. The spleen was slightly enlarged, but nothing stuck out like, this is the problem. So they were like, hey, we could take your gallbladder out, see if that helps. I was like, heck no, you're not taking that out. Gotta put that in there. I'm keeping it. So I refused that option as well. And I just kept on going. It was 24/7, 365. At that point, it wasn't 365, but it was 24/7. And as we kept running tests, they took so much blood. I swear they were feeding vampires back there. But now that we know, those vampires might not be alive anymore with all that stuff that was in me. So we get there. I'm trying to remember. So I graduated. Some days were better than others, but every day was definitely a struggle, and didn't know what was going on, but we kept going. So then comes graduation. I graduated with honors there, and it was one of those things where I made it to graduation and had a great time. Got to spend time with the guys that I'd come to be friends with there, and but then at the awards dinner that I was supposed to go to a couple weeks later, I was too sick to go. I couldn't do it. So I was elected to the Honor Society, which is a huge thing for me. That was a big achievement for me. I was homeschooled all my life, so to prove that I could hang with the rest of the kids, and some of them were extremely smart, and then to be chosen for the honor society at the technical college was big for me. It was validation that my parents did well in schooling me all those years. So that was kind of the going back and forth. One day I'd be able to handle it, and the next day I couldn't. Never stopped me from work or school at the beginning, but for social stuff, it I'd pass on that if I wasn't feeling well. So then we started working with a chiropractor that my mom found for me, who did allergy testing. And I was told I had allergies to basically everything under the sun. So I went on some crazy diet that basically it was rice and hamburger and some veggies. But I couldn't have sugar, corn, soy, I don't even remember. It was nuts. Just total crazy. So I did that for 3 months and was seeing no benefits. And, I was starting my first real full-time job building houses. I couldn't really cook for myself. It wasn't an ideal situation that way, but I just couldn't follow it. So after, it was about 8 or 9 months of building houses, it was a really slow season going into the winter, and so I needed something to do, and I ended up switching jobs just for the security of the paycheck. So I started working at a local hotel. And things were the same. I was still nauseous 24/7. It had definitely been 365 by that point. I was able to do some things. I wasn't really able to do much activity-wise. One of my greatest loves growing up was playing football, and I couldn't do that anymore. I kept trying, but I just, for whatever reason, it would make me sicker. So I had to give that up, and that was a big thing for me. So yeah, I was working at the hotel and found that through all the weird hours that I worked, I found that if I got anything less than 6 hours of sleep at night, I was in for a world of hurt the next day. For whatever reason, it was like 6 hours or more. I was okay. I was tired, but I was okay. Anything less than 6, and I was miserably sick the next day. And that happened quite often during different periods of time. I worked insane schedules for quite a while. So yeah, we didn't know what was going on. Tests were negative. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. They were basically like, well, good luck, have a nice life. And so I was just pushing through and trying to live life the best I could, with my limitations. And my parents kept telling me, you need to back off, you need to take some time, figure out what's going on, you're going to run yourself into the ground. And me being me, I was like, my body's not going to rule me. I'm tougher than this, I'm better than this, I'll figure it out, and I'm going to push through until I do. So yeah, I kept working. Go out on Friday nights when I was feeling well with my friends. We'd go bowling and grab some McDonald's fish sandwiches afterwards and hang out. I managed a couple of day trips to see like a couple of museums and stuff, but not very often. And things just started going downhill. I got more tired. The nausea was always there. And then I started to get what I call attacks. I had no idea what they were or what they were from, but they were extremely uncomfortable. I'd start sweating and burning up, and then I get cold and clammy, feel a little lightheaded. And the only way that I could find to manage them, as I'm dealing in a customer service job, was through pain. So carrying stuff in my pockets that I could, press in my hand, like keys. So sometimes the pain would settle me down, or I'd reach back and scratch the back of my neck underneath the collar, but I was scratching so hard that I was cutting through the skin. So all my shirts had bloodstains on the back. So it was pretty bad, but I'd met a girl. I was, down and out that way. So I was trying to carry on a relationship and work and better my situation. And then these attacks and the nausea, and they just kept getting worse. So eventually, it was like 8 months after the attacks started, I decided I needed to go back and start figuring things out. And unfortunately, in some ways, and fortunately in others, my relationship ended badly with the young lady. And on the one hand, it wasn't easy, but on the other hand, I look at it as it was a blessing for her. We were young, and she didn't get stuck with me being this sick. And all these years later, it's been 14 years now, she didn't get stuck with that. So as tough as the breakup was, I'm happy that I didn't burden her with that. We were young, we were dumb, we were in love, and we could have gotten ourselves in, gotten married and gotten ourselves into something that neither one of us was ready for or could have foreseen. So hopefully she does better, or has done better than that. So that had ended, and 10 months after that or so was when I finally decided, things still aren't right. I need to figure out what's going on. So I went back in, I scheduled another HIDA scan to see where my stomach was at. And I had to go in for a checkup before they do the HIDA scan. Sorry, my mouth's getting dry and I didn't bring any water. And I've been talking for a while, so I'll try and wrap up this video here and leave the rest for next time. So I went for this checkup for the HIDA scan, and I had a major attack at the office, and it was the weirdest feeling. I literally felt something break, like inside of me, something broke. And I made it through the appointment barely, and I got out to my car. I'd taken the morning off to go to the appointment. I got out to my car, and I just knew I was not going to work that day. So I called in sick and went home and laid on the couch, and basically from that moment on, I was am homebound. It's been 10 years now, so it's been a long time. At the time, I had no idea that it was going to be that long. But yeah, something broke. We haven't been able to figure out what that was, what that feeling could have been. But it was almost like it wasn't a sound, but it was like in my head, I could hear a snap. And yeah, that was the end of that. So I took a leave of absence from work. I was very blessed with them being very understanding of me being sick. They knew I wasn't a shirker or that I wasn't, being lazy. So they did everything they could to be accommodating for me, which was, amazing. So they kept my job for as long as they could, but every day I just couldn't do it. I'd get up, get ready to go, and not make it. The attacks were just so bad. So my boss would call and check in a couple times during the week, and how's it going? Are you doing okay? Are you coming back? Can you come back? Can we do anything for you? So it was really, really nice of them to do that. So we were looking for answers, looking for somebody to help. The attacks were so bad. Obviously I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't even think of going to the doctor. It was just outside of my range of suffering, I thought. And like I said, I'm a pretty tough guy. Anybody you ask about me would tell you the same thing, that it takes a lot to knock me out, and this did it. So we worked with, his first name was Byron, I don't remember his last name, at Wellness Resources in Minnesota. He's in the Twin Cities, was in the Twin Cities. So we had a phone consultation with him, and I forget what his title was. He's I think he was maybe a nutritionist, is what his title was. So his thought was parasites. So he gave me a whole bunch of stuff. I was taking like 22 different supplements at least twice a day. It was crazy. With the main goal of killing any parasites that might be causing a problem. But nothing worked. So we were still stuck there. Excuse me. And then the last thing I'll cover here, and then I will end this video and carry on the story in the next one. We found someone who called themselves a doctor. I don't know if she was like a chiropractic doctor or what, but she was very nice, and she introduced us to cold laser therapy, and she was willing to come to the house. So it wasn't easy, but I sucked it up, and she came out to the house and tried the cold laser therapy on me, which is basically acupuncture, but with just a laser. And I think she also tried for parasites. I don't think she tried for Lyme, but she tried for the nausea, she tried for the headaches, for the fatigue, for the pain, and yeah, for parasites. And nothing worked. So we were stumped at that point. We didn't know what to do. I know it was killing my parents at the time. I was blessed that they were able to take me back in. I obviously lost my job. I hadn't really had a good paying job up to that point, so I didn't really have any savings. So I had blown through all those on all these doctor's appointments and supplements and vitamins. And my parents took me back in and gave me a roof over my head. And it was that, or else I would have ended up under a bridge. So those were kind of the options. So I will leave it there, and there will be more videos coming as I share some more of my story and treatments I've tried. And I just hope that I could encourage more people to, especially men, to share your stories. We're not weak for sharing those stories. We need community. We were built to not be alone. So hopefully we can help each other out there. And maybe something I say will trigger something for somebody else to go, hey, I'll try that, and it'll work for them. Fingers crossed. So we will end it there. I'm not sure when I'll do the next video. I'll try and get them out in the next couple of days, just to cover the basic story, my Lyme story up until this point, and then I can talk about more about treatments and philosophies and stuff that I've used, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you found something useful, or just the fact that somebody else is going through it. As a Lyme community, we need to stick together and help each other out in any way we can. So yeah, I'll leave it there. So a couple just final announcements, because this is part of me trying to become more independent and to live my best life that I can with the life that I've been given at this point. So if you'd care to help me out. There'll be a link below. It's an affiliate link for Gatorade Zero, and if on Amazon, I signed up for the Amazon affiliate program. So my promise, as always, is that I will never post anything for us or recommend anything that I don't personally use or know somebody who uses that's a good product. I'm not out to, promote products for the sake of promoting products. But if you use the link below, that would be a huge help for me, because I just signed up for their program and I need to make 10 sales to be able to stay on that program. So the way it works is you click the link and then you can go buy anything. It can be almost anything on there counts. So, buy whatever you want. I might get a couple of cents for it, but the main thing is just to get the sales. Once I get those 10 sales, they see that there's some traffic, and then I should be good to go. And down the road, maybe things will work out to help pay for treatments and bettering my life. So if you'd like to help, that would be greatly appreciated if you could help me get those 10 sales. So yeah, shameless plug done. Got to do it, right? Again, hope this video helps somebody. God bless, and I will try and have more of my story up. So you take care.